Hello, I'm Kimberly Now, Associate Professor of Education and Director of Instructional Leadership at Mount St. Mary's University. Here at the Mount, we are inspired by the legacy left by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Carondelet, who founded the university in 1925. And we value the rich history of the community surrounding the Doheny campus here in the historic West Adams neighborhood of Los Angeles. Today, we celebrate a notable member of this community, Mrs. Bessie Bruington Burke, the first African-American Los Angeles public school teacher in 1911 and the first Black principal in 1918. She first taught at Holmes Avenue, then known as 51st Street School, the first school established for Black students in Los Angeles. Later, she would become principal of diverse schools, such as Ascot Elementary, Nevin Street School, and Virginia Road School. In short, though she loved to travel the world, Mrs. Burke lived and worked within a 5-mile radius of where I stand today. So we honor 6 educators who walk in her footsteps. Each of them embodies the characteristics used to describe Bessie Bruington Burke: expertise in teaching, strong peer leadership, a passion for social justice, and most of all, a love for all students. Please meet the 2023 Bessie Bruington Burke Excellence in Black Teaching Awardees.
My name is Chris Brinkley. I've been teaching 24 years. I currently teach at Alexander Hamilton High School. My approach to teaching is making the lessons and everything we do in class relevant to students and relative to their surroundings, their outside world. Bringing that outside world into the class to something they can latch on to. In my classroom, my African American lit classroom, we study poetry, literature, script writing, and music. So I try to connect with music that relates to them or relates to society and things that are going on. So I think that is what keeps me relevant to them and being able to connect with them. And I'm gonna say this too, I think as a Black male teacher on campus, that connects to them because I've had students come to me with just asking questions about microaggressions on campus. How can I deal with this on campus? How have you dealt with situations being a Black male on campus? And I think that connection, the racial connection with a lot of them, it really connects me to them. What I love about teaching is connecting with the students. That's what I do best with teaching. I tell the students, I'm a DJ who has been pretending to be a teacher for 24 years. And I think because of that, and even my bachelor's degree is not in education, it's film and television production. So I was never bogged down by this teaching criteria, do this, do that. So when I come to the classroom, I'm authentically me. And I think that connects well with the students. It gives me better engagement with them. And they seem to pick up more things just because I'm being completely authentic with them. Go back to Hamilton High after I retired. The legacy that I like to see that I left is the African American lit class still going, still being crammed with students coming, wanting to add to class, and those open discussions that I started in the class that bring out more than just the reading and writing, but bring out more of what's going on in the students' lives and outside of the walls of Hamilton. That's what, if I come back 10 years, 20 years later, that's what I'd like to see still going.
My name is Delise Elam and I teach first grade here at St. Eugene. I realized that I wanted to become a teacher when I started to spend more and more time with the littles, and I saw the impact that they had on my emotions and my feelings. No matter what your experience is, I feel like they just brighten everything. So the more I spent time with them, the more I felt like I actually needed them. What I love most about teaching is the aha moments. One of my favorite lessons is to read around the room. I was teaching kids how to blend out our blend sounds. And as we read, the kids were able to get some postcards or index cards on their backs. And we got into 2 circles and the kids would read each other's backs in big circles. Then later on, they were able to write the word that was read to them from the card on their back. So to see them going around reading, blending, hearing the sounds, seeing it stick, having those aha moments, and then seeing it come to full fruition when they were able to write it out was great for me. I was able to see the entire process. The read around the room, it was a connection between them and me. It was a connection between them as peers. They were able to learn, collaboratively and independently during that process. My teaching philosophy is that all students can learn. I think that there's no one size fit all. We have to meet them where they are. They're all special, they're all unique, they all have the ability. We just have to figure out ways to meet them in their spaces so that we can push them along. I think that my kids would say that I care. I think that they feel most that I build relationship. I do try to meet them where they are, and I think there's power in trying to be in community together. I try to get to know my kids both inside and outside of the classroom, and I think that that is what they would say when they tell you that I care. This is an aha moment for me. I'm really, really tough on myself. I come into the building every day and I try to figure out what I can do to make these kids better. What can I do to help push them along? And sometimes I'm my biggest critic. So moments like this just reassure me that I'm doing something right. So thank you, thank you, thank you for this. I don't want to cry, but I'm probably going to, because you guys are just showing me that I am doing God's work. So I appreciate you, thank you.
My name is Latanya Antoinette Manuel. I've been teaching here at Mid-City for 26 years. My teaching philosophy is that students learn through play, through hands-on experience. It's important for students to be allowed to explore their learning, to have a chance to manipulate items, artifacts, and then bring in the text to solidify the learning and to expand on the growth of where you want them to go. I have a diverse population of students, so using different cultural techniques to attract them, to get their attention, to make them more inclusive in the classroom. Music is my go-to. I use music a lot as transition, and this group they're very vocal. A lot of them are in chorus, so singing and music is something that I use to help ease the flow of the day and into the activities. The river is flowing, flowing and growing. My students would describe me as strict, firm, and loving, also patient, kind, generous, that I'm always there, that, I'm tough on you, but I'm also there to support you. I'm your #1 cheerleader. Social justice is very important because I want my students to become global citizens. I want them to be change agents of this world. I want them to be influential. I want them to go out and create and manifest all the things that they've learned. We have definitely a diverse population of students who are coming to this school, and they're learning so much as we infuse their culture in and learning to respect. First, I teach them how to respect their culture, and then we start learning about other cultures. And that's so important when children have an identity of who they are, that it makes it that much easier to transition and teach them about the world, because they then can see themselves as a part of this puzzle.
My name is Monique Marshall. I really identify as a teacher to the core. I was an active kindergarten through 5th grade teacher for 31 years, and I do equity and diversity consulting work, mostly in classrooms, mostly with teachers. So I consider myself a teacher still, just a teacher of teachers, and then sometimes of their children. I've really been blessed by being able to teach in spaces where teaching is learning, so that every minute of every year, I'm constantly learning something new about the children that are in front of me, about myself. I think teaching is deeply personal. I've grown and grown and grown as a teacher and as a learner. I love learning, and I love people, and I love children. So my teaching philosophy is that I see myself as a guide inside a circle of learners where each of us is part of co-creating something together, something that I think is magical and unique and is all dependent on what's happening both in the world, outside of us, and what's happening inside our kind of co-created community. When I think about Bessie, Bruington, Burke, and I think about characteristics like caring, forthright. Those are the kinds of characteristics that matter to me as a teacher. I love that picture of Bessie Bruington Burke as someone who's taking the outside and bringing it in, and then like weaving the inside back out, because these are our citizens that are going, off into the wider world. And so I would hope that that's something that students that I've taught are taking away, that they matter, not only to me, not only to their community inside their classroom and inside their school, but outside of the walls of their school, they matter, and what they do matters.
My name is Miss Mary Vaughn. I teach at Hudnall Elementary School in Inglewood, California, and this is my 22nd year teaching. I got into teaching because I wanted to get to know students earlier in their lives, before they had difficulties that triggered them going into youth authority, which was for delinquency. My teaching philosophy is, if you're working with young people and you are trying to encourage them to do better so that their life as they get older reflects what they want in life, that you're doing a great service to not only that child, but to their community as a whole. A lot of children, they don't learn if they don't feel like they're cared for. So my philosophy is to make sure that students understand why I do things the way I do them, because I love and care for them, and therefore I want to see them do better. The best part is just watching the light actually come on. Teaching younger children, you actually see it in their face. So you're going through instruction over and over again with students who just really don't get it. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's what she was talking about. I love seeing that. I would like to be remembered for just genuinely giving my all to the students and their families. So I make sure to support not only the students that I work with, but students in other classes, teachers, other staff members that are not teachers. I work with the district, just anyone. I work with parents. And anything families need, if they're willing to ask for it, I try to figure out how to get it to them. So I just want them to remember me for just being there for them as an overall whole person, and not just worried about academics. An impact that I would love to see in this community is when students leave and they graduate from, whether they go to middle school, high school, I want them to come back and talk to the younger children that I work with at the elementary school and let them know, like, I went through struggles and I'm doing great, and so will you. Even if they go into doing something totally different that's not education, just come back and love on the students and express that and show that love to one another.
My name is Margarita Drew, and I am in my 28th year of teaching. This is my first year at John Muir High School, Early College Magnet in Pasadena. What I really love about teaching is that I have juniors and seniors in high school, and I get to usher them out into the world and play some small part in getting them ready for whatever their next steps are. I think that's the part of teaching that I love the most. I would say my teaching philosophy is that every student is able to learn. They are capable of learning, and they all have untapped potential. So it's my job to make sure I push them from here to wherever they can go. So it's tough to compare myself to an icon like Bessie Bruington Burke, but I would say something we share is a passion for equity for all students. Even if equity wasn't the term that they used back then, I just believe every student has the ability to learn, has an individuality, and needs to be supported in that. And I know that she did that throughout her career. I think my students will say about me, ooh, she's tough and she has high standards, but she sure loved us and she sure worked hard to get us there. And I think my colleagues would say, she's all about equity and diversity and inclusion, because that's what I bring up over and over again in meetings or staff development. If I were to come back to John Muir High School, which is also my alma mater, I would hope that my legacy would be that I pushed the expectation and the standard for all of our African American, Latino, BIPOC, LGBTQIA, just all of our students in a way that showed them that they can create excellence and they can meet excellence. So my goal is to leave a legacy of growth and excellence, and perhaps more important than anything else, self-confidence and a belief that they can succeed outside of high school.